Good evening, good late evening for me. I wanted to get these out instead of trying to wake up early. Okay, so let's talk about CONY first. So the underlying coin was up 3.31% to 250.99. And we matched it for the most part at 2.75, so we ended up at 26.16 for CONY. Let's talk about the trade. So I was able, through looking at the holdings, figure out the trades. I just didn't know what the trade prices were. So for some reason, again, they didn't post the interdays when I looked for them, or I was too late in getting them. I don't know why they put them up there and take them down real quick, but I tried to get them from my friend, but he was busy today. So net result, I put all the trades in and estimated the prices because I know what positions were put on. So let's cover let's go do the synthetic. So on the CONY synthetics, we put 500 additional. So from 16,400, we're now at 16,920. And I estimated what they got. Now, we've been in a situation where we're getting more money for the puts than the calls because we're right up at the synthetic price. So I showed this, it could be slightly skewed, but these are going to be fairly close because I know what the closing was. So with 375 is what we likely had to pay for the calls, give or take 10, 15, 20 cents. And we sold the puts for 4.25. So I showed that netting us about 25,000 in the difference, right? So we spent 187.5 and we collected 212. So that actually for coin, unlike MSTY, puts us where if we close that out today, we would have 2.6 million. So good job, CONY. Not bad at all. Now, on the regular call, MSTY did this as well. They went out to 419. Yeah, they went out to 419. So look at this one here. So I marked it in yellow. So they went to 419, and I was, again, it's a guesstimate on my part that they collected around 350. This could have been $4 or $5. It's really hard to tell at what time of the day, and there was a lot of volatility in the movement of coin, especially with CPI coming out yesterday before trading. So based on what I was showing, let's look at where we are. So if we go across on our tab, I estimated we picked up an additional 175,000. We'll see that in short call income. And let's go across here. We also added 475,000 shares, which is 3.02. So we went from, these numbers on the screen, I just memorized them, 15,750,000 shares to 16,225,000 shares. I tracked that on my holdings tab. The reason our cash went, so that in the net assets, we went up 12.5 million, but we spent the cash, right, on buying some things and moving cash around. We probably sent it, yeah, look at this, we sent it back over here in our treasuries. And we parked it also, look at this, with 11 million increase, so we parked a lot of it in the First American. So you can always sort of figure out when you look at these buckets. Otherwise, I don't really care too much about cash. So let's look at the active. Or sorry, let's go over this. So we talked about what we added here. We're in a positive situation. Let's look at our actives because we can learn a few things here. So by adding this, we left the 16,420, right? Even though I showed it as two pieces, you could easily just call this 16,420. It's just we got different prices and we did it at different times, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. We've got 2 more days to decide if we're profitable, and we've already received that money and we're only 2.59% away, right? So we had a nice up day here with a green arrow. We had a nice up day here with a green arrow. and we actually went up in implied volatility a couple percentage points. Not a lot in the chart. I didn't bother to calculate the cap percentage here on this because we don't really collect it this week. What do we have out there? We have some more money, obviously, but I'm trying to see what we can add for this week, and it's not even quite all of the $1.52 now. So we're slightly above 251. I'm calling the 250.99, so we're greater than our price on our synthetics. We've got the bad news is the negative. We've got everything wrapped up in a single strike price, and we're very close to it, right? So these fund managers are banking that we're not going to get by that. But then again, we will make it in the synthetics. If we run up to, 260, we'll lose money on these. Not a tremendous amount, but we'll gain about the same thing in the synthetic, although we would still have another week to go there and could gain more. All right, let's look at our holdings. So here's the 475 I was talking about, 3.02%. And this is where I show, you notice how I've organized all this? So I have all of my cash holdings in one color in box, my synthetics here. I put the calls on top, and I'm always hoping for a bigger number there, right, than I have. Don't worry about the minus and the plus. That it just has to do with debits and credits. On the 262 is our new 419, and the others, as we just talked about, they're too close for comfort for me, only being 2.59. Let's look at April and see what the cash involved is. Okay, so when we run across these, this is what can happen this week for us, right? The bulk of these guys are right here, right? This is where all the money is. We've got 15,875, so we collected $5. And if we can only run to 262 and break even, right? If we run to 257.50 and die there on the vine on this Friday, then we pick up the whole 8 million. So that's what we're really ideally looking to do. These we've got 160, almost 163,000, right? We hardly got anything for those, to be honest, and they're still 257.50. So, and then we decided to go out again. I had to estimate this because they didn't post the intraday, or they posted it where when I went to get it, it was already removed, which was not that long after the close of trading. So, and the other negative here, this thing's got 7 trading days, right? It goes all the way to 419, and they're only 3.31% out of the money. That's crazy if for me, thinking that it's not going to move higher than that in 7 trading days. But let's see. They've done a pretty good job overall with coin. I mean, I'm bullish and long these, so I'm always rooting for them. I don't know how anybody can not own them and track them. I mean, the emotional factor would just be crazy. So let's look. We talked about this. Nothing there. Let's look at payments. So we went from 8.2 to 8.4, right? We collect some more money in the short term. I'm guessing it was 3.5, so this could be slightly more, but it's still going to be in the 8.4, 8.5 range. We picked up a little bit more because I estimated that, what our trades were, buying the call synthetic, the 500, and selling the put, but that should have gone up. The bad news is with all these shares, we're right back at the same premiums, right? So I think yesterday we were around 52 and 53 cents. We added revenue, we're up to 8.6 net income, but because our share count went up a lot. Okay, guys, that should clear us for COIN and CONY. Let's take a look at MSTY. So here are the trades in MicroStrategy. I got those. Again, I can seem to get those, but I don't seem to get the others lately on COIN. And I know they had them because I have the holdings. Okay, so they did a buy call, 22, stuck with the same 17 synthetic, sold short the same 22. But look at this. They spent $40 and they sold the puts for 210. So on paper and in real cash, we received that money. Okay. But the danger is in the details, right? Don't bore me with the details. However, let's take a look at this. So here's our synthetics, right? So I know those. So we picked up, 300 and a lot, right? 462 minus 88, we picked up close to 380,000 additional, right? And in our synthetics, so we're now at 2,316,000. Now, by moving up, we reduced our gap here. It's only going to cost us 7.6 million to close out this position. But look at where we are. Even though we moved up nicely, we're still $134, right? So this 196, if it closed at 1566 on 419, drops to $134. But that's still 5 million, 5.5 million, right? And we would have no value at all here if this was below, even at 1700, that would have no value. So we do want to move up. Let's look at the room we have to move up without hurting our call situation on our actives, right? So let's go take a look at the actives. So I'm still calling this an 8 out of 10. We did pass up one of the calls, right? So the bulk of our, let's go through the bulk, the key ones. So we got 1705s. I don't think we're going to get there, but if we ran up to it, that would sure help our synthetic, even though we have another week. And we stand to collect the most revenue on those guys, right? Because we got 290 calls. I'll go to the April tab and show you all the money there. But we're 8.8% out of the money with only 10 contracts, not a big deal, 11.75. Look at this, 130 contracts. We're 23.61% out of the money at 1920. Okay. We have 40 at 1657, so that's almost $100, but we could move that very quickly, 5.85%. These we put on, we didn't, and we're already 2.3% out of the money. We're already over those guys, right? And then today we put on 22 at 1635, but that has a whole nother week. To me, that's not a good position. Not with 7 trading days. Don't like it at all. Okay, we still got money out there on the table. Not a lot changed with the chart. Let's go look at what this looks like on the April tab. So I highlighted most of these. So here's the money collected. Right, it's in both places, but let's use the yellow one. The reason I made all these yellow and this one orange is because of the difference. So finally today we didn't put one on with just 2 trading days. These are all of our 412 expiring, and this one is by far our nicest position, right? It's up at 1920. What was that? 22.61 out of the money with 2 trading days, and we've got 689,000. Even this guy, right? This guy at 1705 is, what was it, 11% out of the money? 8.8. But still nice positions. That's the bulk of the revenue. So there's 2 million out of about 2.4 this week. So you got about 2.4, and almost 2 million of it are 8 to 15% out of the money. 8 to 22% out of the money. So that's pretty healthy. And altogether we could pick up about 2.6 million. But where we really need to get going, guys, is on this synthetic, guys and girls. We've gotten better. We're only 7.6 million to close it out, but we really need to show some signs of awakening. I can live with it starting next Monday. I think if they stay down in the 1500s, they probably will not roll this synthetic, right? Not, sometimes they roll them, but I'm not so sure they will. They may just not roll it, because if it's in the 1500s, it's going to be $150 or so. That's going to cost them $5 million to roll it. Now, granted, they can put on a new position out, right? But then the calls and puts are going to be around the same, so they're not going to get a lot of cash, right? They'd have to really win on the weeklies, and they will if we stay in the 1500s. They'll win big on the weeklies. Okay, let's look at our payments tab. So we rolled up to 2.3 million on our synthetic. We gained a little there. We're at 2.5 million shares now at MSTY. That was, what did I say, 4.19. We went from 2.4 to 2.5. Look at our net income. $1.92 in total income per share. And just on our short calls, well, actually, we're almost there on the synthetic now. So one's at $1 and one's at 92 cents, right? So that's looking pretty good, with the caveat. Let's go back. The caveat is by 419 we get above 1700. Otherwise, it's going to cost us some money. And we like to make money on both. Look, nothing wrong with healthy greed. You know, we took the risk to get in these funds, especially with these high IVs, and that's what is producing the revenue. Okay, let's take a look and see if there's anything else. So we closed at 36.99. When we add everything together, I'm showing 37.03, right? So we're in discount of 4 cents. I've got all this updated. Again, look at this. You always want your top number to be bigger, not because this one's negative. That just has to do with debit or credit. But we want to have more money. We want a bigger number in our call than we do on our put. Right now, we got to spend 11 million to get out of it, and we can only collect 3. That's why it will cost us roughly 7,600,000 to close it. Look at this cash from the shares coming in. So they haven't always distributed that all out. Let's see what we had in April. We can scroll out there. Yeah, we added 4.194 million. Most of these are pretty similar. We took 400,000 out of here. I don't see anything earth-shaking there. Okay, let's root for up days here in CONY and in MSTY. I'm all in on this. All right, guys, I think that's everything. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for fun and education. Leave me comments, like, subscribe. Tell your friends if you think they can benefit from this content. Okay, guys, catch you next time. Bye for now.